Hey all, it's Linda. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I feel like this is the unofficial start of spooky season, okay? I have gotten my first piece of spooky makeup, I'm calling it spooky makeup, in the mail, and I am freaking pumped. So today I'm going to be talking about the NOMAD Ghost Town USA palette. First of all, can we appreciate this packaging, okay? Can we appreciate the love, the care, the attention to detail, everything that went into this? Like, I'm in awe. Okay, I love it. I love it. Whenever a brand puts thought into their packaging, I always do appreciate it. Now, if they put more thought into the packaging than they do into the formulas, it's an issue, and I think we realize that. But this is really freaking cool. So they did just come out with this. This is available now as of the time you're seeing this. I'm sorry I'm getting this up a bit late, but mine was delayed a bit in the mail, but I am so excited and so pumped to have it. First, let me tell you a little bit about the palette. So it does retail for $49, and there are 18 shades total, 9 mattes and 9 shimmers. They say that this one is formulated with extra fine pigments so that it's very smooth and very metallic. So it does feel a bit different to the touch, which I can already say from having done the swatches than some of their past palettes. It feels very, very creamy. Like some of the shades almost feel borderline wet. So there is definitely a difference there, and you can feel it. This is cruelty-free and vegan. Of course, there is also no talc and no gluten. It is free from parabens and phthalates and mineral oil and all of that stuff. But let's get into what you want to see. First, we're going to take a look inside the palette. Wait, before we get into that, something I feel like I forget in every single NOMAD video is to talk about how with every single palette, they donate to a good cause. So this time, the cause. We are proud to support birds of prey at the Peregrine Fund that protects the habitats of raptors like the condors, vultures, eagles, and hawks of America's Wild West. So since this palette is Wild West themed, I appreciate the synchronicity there. But as always, the palette does come in its own cardboard packaging, which shows all of the colors on the back. I always love this because if you do not know, I am somebody who tends to save my packaging. I know a lot of people don't, but I do. So if I can pick it up and go, wait a minute, I know that I had a sparkly green shimmer somewhere. I can pick it up and look at the back and figure it out that way. But anyway, then you get to the packaging on the outside of the actual palette. As I showed you, this is a completely like holographic vibe. I love this. I think it looks so cool. So on the front, you do have this old West town with a saloon with horses, all of that. And then when you flip it, you have the same town, but there is a mysterious ghost rider, and we've got, you know, the ghost town sign. On one wall it says help. It is so cool. And when you open the palette, this is what you see. So these shades are definitely dusty and musty and grungy shades. There are a lot of very, very deep tones in here, and there are not as many light tones. I will say that. This is very deep and grungy and dusty and all the good things. But we do have an equal 50-50 mix of mattes and shimmers, which I think is amazing. That's what I prefer personally in a palette. I know that there are some people who love an all matte palette or an all shimmer. I love a great mix of both, and I think they did a really good job of having unique shades in here that didn't, compete with each other too much, that complemented each other. Also, you can see that they have imprints on these shadows, and they are so good. If I'm correct, they have an imprint on every single shadow, which is cool. I think my favorite, I have to say, is like the Hanged Man one. It's too rad, but I will say when I swatched these, I was so happy with the quality of the swatches. They are so smooth and buttery, and the shimmers all swatch beautifully and pigmented. There were a couple that I had to go over more than once, but as I've always said here on my channel, when I apply eyeshadow to my eye, very rarely do I dip once in the pan and once on my eye. I'm going back over it a few times to build it up to the level that I want it to be, so I have no issues with also doing that on my arm for swatches. But I do have yet to try this on my face, so I would like to do 2 looks today, one on one eye, one on the other, as I enjoy doing. I feel like I should pin these bangs back because they're just getting in the way, but I'm getting them trimmed in a couple days, and I'm so excited. Now, I only just got this palette in the mail today, so I kind of have no idea what I want to do. let me ruminate on this. I want to have at least one eye using colors that I would not normally dip into, because I feel like that's when I push myself the most, and that's when I really enjoy playing with a palette, is when it's something I would not normally do. All right, I think on one eye I want to do dusty blues and maybe that purple sparkle as well, but I definitely want to do dusty blues over here. And then over here, I think I want to do rich browns and golds and bronzes and really use those colors, especially because this color, Copper Penny, the way that it swatched was unlike any metallic I've ever seen. It was stunning. I have one hair. Oh, it wasn't even attached. All right, let's get into this. I do already have my eyes primed and set with the Sigma eye stick that I always use, the Sigma base. So I'm going to start by dipping into, you know what? Let's start with a deep color. Let's start with a deep color. I need a different brush. I want to start with Dead Man's Hand, okay? This is a very deep, dark blue. Now, this is really outside my comfort zone because I'm not somebody who usually goes right in with the deepest color. I usually start with the crease color, which is lighter. Let's try this. Let's try this. This is supposed to give you a much more intense look when you start with that deepest color, especially if you're doing it on the outer corner. So I'm just pouncing this on. So with one dip into the pan, I'm going in for my second dip. You can tell it's an intensely pigmented color. And again, I'm just pressing this and doing little pouncing motions to kind of minimize fallout, because with a deep dark color like this, fallout is not uncommon, at least for me. So I'm starting very light and I'm building this up just a little bit above the crease, and I'm going to take this out as well. I'm liking this color so far though. It's very pigmented. You can't see any skin showing through there. Wow. And I'm going to also take that through the crease just a bit, but just like right in the actual crease. I'm going to clean off my brush and I'm just going to blend out this edge a little bit, even though I'm going to put a color higher here, just because I'm so nervous about it just not blending well with this dark color going down first. But like, look at how beautiful that's fading out. Like, yes, there is still a line there right now, but it's fading out really nicely. I am pretty happy with that. Okay, so now I'm going to take a bigger fluffy brush and go into Skinner's Saloon. I wish I knew what that was. Oh, tons of kick up in the pan, but I don't necessarily mind that, but there's a lot of kick up. I'm going to tap all the excess off. I can build this up always, and I'm just going to go ahead and buff that right here on the outer edges for a nice kind of dusty blue blend. Blue blend. This is making for a nice blend. I will say, I wish there was maybe like a couple shades that were a little bit lighter in here, just so, I mean, I have plenty of shades that I can dip into in other palettes, but just so I didn't have to bring out another palette, that would be nice, but I don't mind it. So far, so good. I do want to blend out the dark blue just a little bit, just to get rid of that harsh edge. That's a little bit better. Ooh, these are looking nice together. Wow. Okay, so the next shade I want to go into is Quicksilver. I'm trying to debate if I want to just pat this on with my finger. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put down some NYX glitter glue and use my finger, because I feel like that will give it the biggest punch. So I have to admit, I don't know if you guys watched my review on the new Urban Decay Naked Metal Mania palette, but one thing I kept saying in that video was how when the colors were first teased, I wasn't necessarily interested, but when I got it, I was like, okay, let me try this. That's sort of how I felt with this palette until I got it and saw it in person, and I was like, oh my God, it's like the grunge palette of my dreams in a way. It's so beautiful, and these are such unique colors to like a color story. Okay, so this shade, this is the one, Quicksilver, okay? It is it's softer. I feel like it's softer than any other shade in here, but it's because the payoff is intense. This shimmer is so intensely beautiful, but I will say that I personally feel, look at that, oof, that this shade is a bit softer. So just be careful, especially if you're using your finger, and maybe be like a little more gentle. Now, I definitely do have fallout here that I'm gonna have to touch up from actually all three shades. I'm only just now noticing, but like, look how pretty that sparkle is. It's really catching the light. I like that. I'm trying to decide if I want to add any. I feel like right in the center, I want to add some of this purple. So you know what? I'm going to do it. This shade is Ghost Train, and this is just a nice, very wet looking metallic purple. And I'm going to kind of pounce that right in the center. Not a lot of it, but just enough so you get that shiftiness. Ooh, I like that. That's very pretty. So the dark is still there on the outer edge, but because I like this to be super dark, I'm going to layer it. And we will see also, I recently had a palette where I went in with a dark shade and it just kept disappearing. This one is not doing that. This is building up exactly how I like it to. Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. You know what? Do I want the darkness? I think I do. I think I want the darkness a little bit in this inner corner as well to make a little bit of a halo eye. Yes, I feel like that helps bring it together a little bit. Ooh, yeah, that's it for me. I love a halo eye. I am a halo loving bitch. That's really pretty. You know what? I think though, the purple is throwing me off. I'm going to dab a little bit of the blue back on top of it. Ooh, that makes it like a silvery color. That's really cool. Okay. Ooh, I like that. I like that. So I did clean up under the eye. I'm just adding some concealer back in. I'm going to go ahead and take this other color, which is Calamity Jane. It's another dark one, but this has a bit more of a green tone. And that's what I'm going to use under the eye to smoke this out. Ooh, that got more smoky than I intended, but I like it. All right, eventually I'm going to be doing some liner and mascara and all that, but I want to move on to this other eye so we can see both of them, and then I can come back and they're magically all finished with the magic of YouTube. So this eye, I'm going to do it a bit more traditionally how I would normally do it. So I think I want to start with the lightest color, which is going to be Undead Sheriff. And this is, first of all, that's a great name. But this is a cool color because it's gray, has a tiny bit of purple to it, a tiny bit of brown. It's incredibly unique to my collection personally. That I'm going to put all up in the crease, almost up to the brow bone. So I don't know if you can see, it has so many different tinges of color to it. Definitely a bit of purple undertones, but like, wow, that's like a very cool tone color. Like, I like it. I hope this color is going to go okay with the brown look I have in mind, but we're going to make it work. All right, I'm taking a fluffier brush and going in with a Bandit Queen. This is a more mid-tone brown. That's going to go a little bit deeper in the crease to deepen this up. We'll see how these layer because, again, that first shade is just very cool tone, and this is definitely a cool tone brown, but still, I just want to make sure that they're going to play nicely together. That's really cool. So honestly, these two shades are so cool toned. They look like borderline like Tim Burton character contours. All right, I'm going in with Deadwood, which is the deepest brown in the palette. This one over here, I guess, Arrested Decay, is pretty, I guess it's technically brown or charcoal. It's not quite black, but this is the deepest true brown in the palette. This is going right in this outer corner. Again, patting it to really get that pigment down with as little fallout as possible and taking that just into the outer edge of the crease. Oh, I love how smoky this one's getting. That color is going right under the eyes as well. I love this color. I have to tell you, it might seem like just anybody can do a good brown shadow, but that is not true. You have to like formulate it perfectly. This is such a great shadow. I'm gonna put that right on the inner corner as well. I can almost guarantee I will have to touch that up, but I am excited for this main tone. So I'm going in with a little bit again of the NYX glitter glue just in the center of the lid. And I'm going into Copper Penny, which when I swatched it, it was stunning. I really hope it looks as pretty on my eyes. It is so metallic. I love this shade. I love it. I love it. I love it. That is so pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and touch up those browns just to make sure they are nice and deep. I'm kind of loving this gray up here. It's making it like super smoky. Okay, wow. I do think, let me take a little bit more of this under the eyes to smoke it out because this side is super smoky. And I had very little fallout on this side, like to the point where I can probably just go over it with my concealer brush. Yep. We're all good to go. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to hop off screen real quick and I am going to finish up my liner and do my mascara and get all of that on, and I'll be right back with my thoughts. All right, here is the final look, and I have to admit, like, it's a little bit scary for me because I did so many things that pushed me out of my comfort zone with this. Like, for example, I think you guys know I don't wear fake lashes that often. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try this big pair. And these are the Vegas by BK Beauty. And they are so comfortable, by the way, so incredibly comfortable. But I just don't know, like, maybe they need to be up more. And then I wore a cool toned lip, which I never do. This is the Kaleidos, the glossy lip glaze, and this shade is Last Smoke. I don't ever wear a cool tone lip, and even a cool tone blush. Color pops to the 10. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the cool tone works for me there, but I think maybe the warm toned eye here is throwing me off. But we're here to talk about this palette, okay? We're here to talk about the Ghost Town USA palette. I will say that I feel like so far this palette has surprised me in a very nice way. So when I opened this and I saw all these dusty colors, that's what I was expecting, is dusty. I feel like when I've seen any dusty colors from any brand in the past, the opacity is really hard to get. It's hard to get a smooth application. They're patchy. There's lots of fallout. Not the case with this formula for me personally. These mattes all performed really nicely. They didn't leave any patchiness like I've had with other palettes. Everything just went really smoothly together and applied really nicely. I actually love the blue. I love them both. I love them both, but for a completely different reason. But I did wind up using, let me see how many shades I used. I used 9 out of 18 shades. That's pretty good for me. I'm pretty happy with that. But you're gonna have to let me know what you think of this palette. Is this one you're planning on picking up? Again, it's available now, $49 for 18 shades. The quality is amazing. So it all is just gonna come down to whether or not the color story speaks to you. I am happy to have this in my collection though. Let me tell you, this is something where I feel for the first time in a minute really inspired by a color story because it's so different than what I have in my collection. Not just because it's cool tones, but these like dusty, grungy tones, so unique. And I'm also very proud of myself. Okay, how many of you, comment down below, when I opened this palette, thought I was gonna go for one of these gold greens, and I didn't? I didn't. I'm so proud of me. Thank you. It's been a long journey to get here. Thank you. But that's it. Thank you so much to Nomad for sending this to me. I am really excited to play more with this. So keep an eye on my Instagram and or TikTok pages. I think I might have some looks going up with this at some point because it was just fun to play with. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you liked this, as always, it really does help me out. Take 2 seconds. I know we all have very busy days ahead of us. Take a second, please. Hit that thumbs up button down below. That really, really helps out my channel more than you know. Or leave a comment, or if you haven't already, subscribe, become a part of the fam. You all can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Those are all GlitterFallout. And as always and forever, you are super freaking rock stars. And I love you so much with my whole heart. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.